All right, so this is the Shed, Smokehouse and Juke Joint, I think it's called, and it's because they hold concerts here. It's a small venue, so they do have drinks and food in the back, and then they do hold smaller concerts here, which if you have a few drinks in you, the mediocre barbecue food tastes good. But 10 days ago, they bailed out on the Tennessee Stands Freedom Tour and forced Tennessee Stands to find a new venue for their spot, which is why we're heading up to Knoxville. All right, we are up in Knoxville. We're at the world famous Cotton Eye Joe. Many of y'all, if you're country fans, y'all have heard of the Cotton Eye Joe. We're there. We're there for the Freedom Tour, right? So the Freedom Tour is put on by Tennessee Stands. Many of y'all have seen the Instagram account, Tennessee Stands. Gary Humble is the one that kind of heads that thing, and they're taking the tour all across Tennessee. They happen to be in our area in East Tennessee. It was gonna be at the Shed in Maryville, but the Shed backed out at the last minute. Wouldn't you know, good old world famous Cotton Eye Joe stepped up. They're providing the venue for the tour and everyone to speak, so looks pretty busy. Looks like it's gonna be a good time. H-O-A-G, okay, we got Hoag. Y'all remember Ashley? You're helping out a lot with them, right?
Yes.
Tennessee Stands. So is it The Unsilent Patriot?
Yes.
The Unsilent Patriot on Instagram. We'll talk more to her later, but we gotta get checked in, I guess.
Yep.
So it's kind of fun that they're having this at the Cotton Eye Joe, because Babs and I love to come to the Cotton Eye Joe just because we're country fans, and it's iconic, and it's funny because there's a lot of the younger crowd here, and our friends that are here that are a little bit older, like this was their jam back in the day, and it's funny that we get so excited to come here because it's kind of old. I don't know, I guess we're considered old and it's all the younger crowd now, but it's a lot of fun. So it's really cool that they held it here and that they stepped up. But I'm really excited to share a little bit about one, Tennessee Stands, kind of this whole movement and everything that's going on. So hopefully there will be some good speakers tonight and bring you all a little bit of education while we do it.
To the bone, just trying to make something out of nothing, you know. He never wanted silver, gold, or the finer things, just a wife and kids, a home, and the American dream. Whoa, how you gonna step in line?
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gary Humble. Gary?
I believe we are the line in the sand, and I think that what you're going to find, as I really still consider Tennessee one of the most conservative states in the country. I think that's why Californians and everyone else, it seems to be, are just moving here in droves. And I'll say something about that. A lot of people say, well, don't California my Tennessee, and I'm with you. But what I find is that the people who are moving here do love freedom, and even see it to some degree more than folks that are people that live in Tennessee. It's almost like we're the proverbial frog in the boiling water, and you kind of lose. You can't really see your freedoms being taken away one by one, and folks are moving here from across the country and they're saying, wait a minute, I didn't think it was like this here. We just, don't you see what's going on? And so I'm encouraged that there are people moving here that love freedom as much as I do, as much as you do, because look, it's going to take all of us collectively to work together to keep it, because I really do believe that as one of the most conservative states in the country, that Tennessee's on the list to go after. Because if you can take Tennessee, well, then you can start taking other states. And this is this. The doctrine of non-resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is absurd, slavish, and destructive. of the good and happiness of mankind. So right up at the beginning of the Tennessee Constitution, it prescribes to you and I as Tennesseans a duty, a constitutionally prescribed duty to the citizens of this state to resist arbitrary power, and then goes on to say, by the way, if you don't, you're crazy. This is absurd and slavish behavior. 4 counties in the state of Pennsylvania sued their governor, stating that these executive orders were unconstitutional. Well, the federal court ruled in their favor. Yes, we do think that per the United States Constitution, this is unconstitutional. Good intentions toward a laudable end are not alone enough to uphold governmental action against the constitutional challenge. Indeed, the greatest threats to our system of constitutional liberties may arise when the ends are laudable and the intent is good, especially in an emergency. But listen closely to this. But in an emergency, even a vigilant public may let down its guard over its constitutional liberties, only to find that liberties once relinquished are hard to recoup, and that restrictions, while expedient in the face of an emergency, may persist long after the immediate danger has passed.
And the founders of the United States erected a banner of justice emblazoned not with the emblems of race and color and any creed, except the view that God Almighty made us and we must live up to His creed. There's only one country I know of in the history of mankind that didn't answer that call once or twice. They answered it every single time. They answered it when they were not sure that their understanding of justice was like God's understanding, but they fought for His understanding anyway, and they died for His understanding anyway, and they lifted up a banner of hope that has reached into every part of the earth, which we have influenced because they were willing to lift up that banner and give their lives, not just for themselves, but for every human being, the rich, the poor, the black, the white, the Chinese, the Asian, whoever you might be. America stands with you because we are standing with God.
Mr. Alan Keyes was straight fire. That was legit.
It's a big old question.
That was really good.
You got somebody.
That was emotion right there. It feels good.
Question.
Okay, so y'all know Jessica Vienna, coffee lover. We were back and forth on coffee companies. We had a good exchange. I'm just poking fun. I'm excited because we're gonna see more of Jessica.
I'm on the fence of myself.
Non-coffee related.
Non-coffee related.
Spiritual.
America related, right? We
That's
say
right.
that. We can say
Very
American.
American
Well, coffee's American, but more American, and yeah. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see.
Again, at a time when there's fewer illegals coming into the country, it went up 46%. And now you've gotten, hey, I pray for all the people in Afghanistan, but just because you're fleeing and you're on that tarmac doesn't mean that you're friendly. That's right. It does not mean that you love this country, and it does not mean that you get a free pass to come here.
All right, we gotta get out of here. Babs got work.
Gotta get up.
Poor thing, I dragged her along, but you have fun? Learned some stuff?
Nice some stuff.
It's cool. It's fantastic that they had this. There's a few more of these coming up. I know there's Chattanooga next week, which is it's a big one. If you can get to that one and you haven't been to one, tons of knowledge, tons of education, stuff I didn't know. I'm really glad we came. I might even make the Chattanooga one. I might try to get down there. So there are tons of great speakers. Obviously, Gary spoke. He came out of the gate. And one of my favorite things was him talking about Californians. The Californians that are moving here are the Californians you want here. Because we're the ones that realize that we lost rights, that we lost freedoms. And we can see it kind of unfolding now. So we want to prevent that from happening. But so many good speakers. There's James Lindsay, Alan Keyes, Andy Ogles, the mayor of Maury County was just talking. Just so many good people up there speaking. It's really cool. And what's funny is, if we jump back to the shed really quick. Yeah, and I mean, I get it. It's their right? It's a private business. You can do what you want and stuff. But I just thought, I mean, Harley Davidson's like biker dudes and girls, and like American and just freedom and I don't know, like, isn't there a motto like screw it, let's ride or something? I don't know. Maybe they changed theirs to screw it, wear a mask. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me, because this freedom tour has been anything, from what I have seen, it has been anything but what the newspaper headlines have read. And the fact that they bought into that and cowered down to it is just, it's disappointing. But whatever. You gotta make your stand, and we won't be there anymore. Right, so the shed canceled. And now, this is what the paper said. The shed canceled because this was an anti-mask and an anti-vaccine propaganda parade. Did you hear anything about anti-mask? Did you hear anything about mask, period?
No.
Did you hear anything about the vaccine?
No.
Nothing. What they talked about was simply your freedoms and your God-given rights that we as Americans all share. That's it. So the shed will not be getting any of my business, probably ever again. They throw some great concerts, and after seeing this and seeing that cluster, we don't need to go to the shed no more. But Cotton Eye Joe, Chuck, thank you for opening your doors. If you are on Instagram, follow them at Tennessee Stands. They got a lot of good info on there. Gary's a genius when it comes to the Constitution and everything as it applies to Tennessee. I got a lot to learn, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, great night. Go check them out and give them some support.